Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Bachelor Recap, a guy's review. As always, it's your boy Dave Neal, stand-up comedian, host of the SAP podcast. How are you guys doing today? Welcome to 2021. It is Matt James season, and boy, is it nice to have a breath of fresh air. Isn't this nice? We have no record of how he was on The Bachelor in Paradise or how he was on Bachelorette or what he said when he... No. Clean slate, new year, new you. So if you are new to my channel, hi, thanks for checking me out. Are you lost? Welcome to the page. 2020 was a good year. 2021 will be that much better. What I like to do is I take notes, write them down on my trusty little Google Doc. I read them back to you guys. No edits, no jump cuts, no quick funny line here, quick funny line there. I'd say it. Some things bomb, some things kill. You guys be the judge in the comment section. Hit the subscribe button, give your boy a like, and let's get right into it. Here's what I love about this year. They open on a cold open. I love a cold open. That means there's no special title cards like The Bachelor or this or coming up. Just a cold open. I love a good cold open. A girl brings out a vibrator and said, "This got me through the pandemic." And we all have that moment where we're watching The Bachelor where we go, am I going to really invest in a new season? And then, what normally happens is like 30 minutes in or 2 episodes in, something happens and we go, I'm all in. I'm in on the season. I'm all in on the season. This got me through the pandemic. Oh, yeah? Well, this show is going to get me through the third wave. And boy, she brings a vibrator. Let Matt James be your Energizer bunny. Good vibrations. Let's do this. Matt James, they introduce him. They kind of teach us a little bit about him for the casual viewer who doesn't know. He's 28. He's got an 8-pack. He lives in New York City. He works with homeless kids in the inner city. Okay, you're cool. We get it. We approve. Holy cat, this guy's got more things on his resume than the last 5 bachelors combined. No wonder they picked him. Aren't we glad we didn't waste this on Claire Crowley? Oh, that would have been a waste. Instead, we just leapfrogged him straight to the front of the line. Matt was raised by a single mom, just like me, Single Moms Club. I didn't play D1 football in college or maintain 0% body fat, so I'm glad his single mom raising him led to a cut body. Mine led to a sugar addiction. Good to have you guys here. All right, so we meet the women, right? They've been quarantining alone. Every season moving forward, they should let the women and the men quarantine alone for a week. I think it's a good way to just reset the body. It's like, all right, everyone's on their own, no social media, just get to know yourself again. We kind of need those resets every once in a while. But anyway, they lock up the contestants. You got Alicia, she ballets down the hall. I could feel a collective eye roll from Bachelor Nation. It's like, we get it. Position 2, we understand. Your toes are probably all bojangled, no problem. Abigail, they show her. She's born deaf, wears an implant in the ear. Unlike Claire's implants. Moving on, folks. Come on, let's go. Maggie, is it Maggie or Maggie from Ethiopia? She's got a doctorate in pharmacy, speaks multiple languages, beautiful. Anna, ad copywriter in Chicago. Sarah, broadcast journalist in Palm Springs. Look, guys, come on. This isn't how I like to do my recaps. The first couple episodes of The Bachelor, it's brutal. I got to get through 32 people. I feel like I'm doing my taxes. I'm like, all right, who's that person? There's a journalist over there, and that's a journalist too. I thought that was the same. You ever watch a show and you think 4 different other girls are the same person? Halfway, one gets voted off, and you're like, I thought she was voted off. No, that was Rebecca. This is Jennifer. They're different. Didn't you notice? Their eyebrows are different. It's all the same to me. So I don't like to remember their names until we're at least going to cut off half the fat here. Anyway, time for Matt to meet the ladies. They keep teasing this. All right, time for Matt. It's like an hour into the show. It's like, are we going to meet the ladies or what? He says he has game time jitters. So do we, Maddie. We love a good game time jitter. When you feel that kind of nervous energy, that means you're about to do something really good. And then we get a flag on the play. As soon as they're going to introduce Matt to the ladies, they do this impromptu yet completely canned chat, completely planned. Matt's like, can we chat, Chris? And then Chris is like, there's a limo full of women ready to meet you. And Matt's like, they can wait. And it's like, okay. And then they go into a perfectly lit fireplace room where, of course, they were prepared for this next scene. So you get these ladies, right? They're waiting in the limo. They've been drinking champagne for 32 straight hours. Matt, they got to pee. You ever date a lady? I grew up with a bunch of sisters. When they got to pee, you better pull over and find a place. I know you're in Pennsylvania. I feel bad for the limo driver, right? Bunch of angry, drunk women in the back saying, can you swing us by a Wawa? We have to pee. We didn't drink enough water. Is there a Wawa in Pennsylvania? Sure. Is it near where they're staying? I don't know, but I'm on the West Coast, so it's the best Pennsylvania association I'm going to get over here. By the way, if you haven't, quick plug, watch my video I released earlier yesterday. I read all the 1-star reviews on Yelp from the Nemacolin Woodland Resorts. Pretty funny stuff. As it turns out, there was a bear attack that happened a couple years ago on the resort. So anything can happen there. If Case Colton wants to jump a fence, he's going to get mauled by a Himalayan tiger. Well, that's one way to get ratings. So Matt discusses being the first black bachelor, and that he's a product of interracial marriage, and they have this very nice chat. Matt mentions that there are people rooting for him to pick a specific race. Look, I'm as vanilla bread as they come. Vanilla bread, white bread, vanilla wafer, whatever. I'm white. So not my place to have this conversation. But just last week, I had a chat with a friend of mine, King, who watches the show. He's a stand-up comedian friend of mine, a black guy who's hysterical, very funny guy. And I don't know too many dudes that watch the shows with me. It's a lot of ladies. Hey, ladies, how are you? But there's a couple of us guys holding down the fort. Anyway, we had this nice chat about what it means to sort of be disappointed sometimes when the lead chooses someone that you didn't want them to choose. So it doesn't mean everything's like a race card issue. But, you know, if you're rooting for Tasha to choose Ivan, maybe because that's the representation you want, that's okay to root for that. It doesn't mean Tasha has to choose Ivan. She chose Zach. She loved Zach more. You know what I mean? So it was interesting that Matt brought it up because he mentions that there are people rooting for him to pick a black contestant when he's just going to try to find whoever he loves the most. You can get into all these other conversations about why that is, but the heart wants what the heart wants. So here's to Matt just following his heart, really. Anyway, we discussed that in my video, and people were very respectful about the whole discussion. And it's interesting. It's interesting that, you know, you want to root on certain people for various reasons. You know, sometimes you want to root against someone. You're like, that looks like my ex Rebecca. I don't want anyone who looks like Rebecca to find love. You know, like, we've all got different things going on. All right, so the first limo finally arrives. Finally. Oh, boy. The funny part, these limos pull up and they just show the audio and it sounds like a dozen feral cats fighting for a can of tuna. Matt, good luck. A limo pulls up and just, you know, one chick's peeing in the back, you know. I said I had to go. I warned you, I had to pee. Matt's trying to have like a fireside chat with Chris, and then two chicks have, broken their bladders. Matt seems overwhelmed by the women. Mari left him speechless. I love how he watches them walk up the stairs and talks to himself. This is my favorite part of the show so far. Matt basically, and I don't blame him, he's obviously on mic. He watches them walk up the stairs and he goes, oh my, I can't believe I'm like, that's the most beautiful. And he's just so respectfully in awe of everyone's beauty. This is the way it's done. It's okay to compliment people on their beauty or their smile or how they look in a dress. It's the tone and it's the respect that goes with that, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, because sometimes, what do you want? You told me I'm being too loud? Tasha says I'm being too loud. If anyone wants to Venmo me $10, I will scream in the next recap. I'm kidding. It's late here. I already did a live stream tonight, so it's midnight. So I got to be a little. This is gonna be the new ASMR episode. Anyway, so yeah, these limo entrances, they got to walk 300 steps up the walk in the heels to the entrance. Look, I said this early on. Someone's falling into a water fountain. Okay, I mean it's a lot of pressure for these ladies in these heels to just walk up these rugged steps that they have over there. But yeah, Matt just seems overwhelmed, and good for him. He should be. It's like 1 second he's over there in the quarantine crew with Hannah Brown and Tyler C., and next thing you know, he's top dog on one of the biggest shows in the world. I mean, life comes at you fast, right, Matt? It feels weird calling him Matt. I feel like Matt James is easier. They always say when you have two first names, people call you by your full name. Like everyone calls me Dave Neal instead of Dave. I don't know if that's just a two first names thing, but Matt James kind of rolls off the tongue there. Anyway, let's move on. So when the limo pulls up and you hear them just chatting in the car, they're just like, you know, they're basically just, you know, like in a safari, just a limo safari drives up and they're just looking at him like, oh my gosh, look at him standing right there. What a stud. They're just like yelling, you know, not knowing he's going to listen to this in post. Kayla shows up in an F-250 pickup truck. Is that right? Was it an F-250? Oh, that's how you roll up. Matt, he goes, is that a stick or automatic? Kayla goes, it's a stick, playa. Okay. Nothing as sexy as a girl who shows up in an old pickup truck. I'll fight you on that. For everyone like Kit who shows up in a, you know, Bentley, no. Show up in your dad's pickup truck and show that you know how to haul some hay, as it were. Serena trips on her entrance. She like tripped into his arm. She played it well. She goes, "It's been 5 seconds and I'm already tripping for you, or tripping on you. Tripping. It's been 5 seconds and I'm already tripping on you." She's a flight attendant, ready for turbulence in the cabin, if you know what I mean. We'll see. Where are they going to do the fantasy suites? They got 4,000 square feet of resort space. I mean, they're going to have a much better job than Tayshia in the Airstream. If I'm Tayshia, I'd be like, man, I got stuck in a 140-degree desert, and you get to go to some cool place in the middle of nowhere. Kaylee, the hostess, is her name Kaylee? She shows up in lingerie and a clothing rack. That's one way to do it. That is one way to. There's 20 women just watching from the window, like they're just like fish in a fishbowl. They're all surrounding this circular window, like, is she in a? I love it how pissed off people get when they get outdone by other people's like props or whatever. They're like, oh, this chick over here is gonna show up in a lace lingerie. What a little brat. Some girl's like, I wore goat slippers, for Christ's sake. I can't compete with that. Alana brings some chow mein. They do the Lady and the Tramp carbo kiss. You got to love a good carbo kiss. I don't think Alana has much of a chance just going on vibe alone. I don't know if they hit it off well. But look, that wasn't pasta. What was it? I thought it was chow mein. Anyway, that's one way to rack up the carbs in the new year. Be careful, Matt. Once you get to my age, those abs aren't going to just stick around. Who am I kidding? The guy's so ripped. Boy, you guys know me. I don't like props. I'm not a prop guy. I don't like how they do the props. But let me tell you something. MJ showing up in a pizza delivery car with a cheese pizza might be the prop to end all props. Okay, that's how you do it. You want to find a way to my heart. You show up to my house with a cheese pizza. I will marry you on the spot. Okay, that's just what I'm saying. We got Katie's entrance, which we saw in the cold open. We now know her name's Katie. We cold open, we had the vibrator entrance. They replay that scene. She brings positive vibrations to the show, as we all said. Katie names her vibrator MJ after the cheese pizza girl, which is great. How flattering. Imagine if a guy brought a fleshlight. It's the same thing, right? Imagine if a guy brought a fleshlight onto the show and goes, this got me through quarantine, and just walks by Claire Crowley. And then the guy names his fleshlight off of another guy. He's like, I'm going to name this Brendan because it has your eyes. I don't know. You know, I like to bring up the differences between like men and women because equality doesn't mean things can't be different. And while we all want equality, it is funny that a woman can whip out her vibrator, but no way can a guy bring a fleshlight onto the show. I have a stand-up joke about this, how grossed out women are by male sex toys, and I get it. I totally understand. I get it. I'm not fighting you on that one. Men are disgusting. Women are like cute. It's like, your little like toys are like, it's a little bunny rabbit. Ding, 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 ding. Men are like, this, you can stick into a couch. All right, let's move on. Kid shows up in a Bentley, the fashion designer's daughter. She looks like she's wearing a koosh ball. It's like if Project Runway was sponsored by ShamWow. Like, is that a dress or a Swiffer sweeper? What are you doing with that? Drying off cars in a car wash with that outfit? What's going on? Victoria, the queen, shows up. Ugh, right? We're over it. I was over Victoria. There's a reason we live in the U.S., all right? We left the royal family. We don't care. Unless you're having a kid, with your newfound princess, we don't care. Someone in the window goes, well, that's a bit dramatic. Is that like Cinderella vibes? They're like commenting on Victoria the Queen. Yeah, she shows up. She falls up the stairs. Her dress must be tumble dry only. Boy, here we go. An hour into the show. We'll get back to her in a minute. We're an hour into the show. Matt finally makes it to the cocktail party. He starts his cocktail party off with a group prayer, which might be a first. I could be wrong, but this might be a Bachelor Nation first, which would have been great if the vibrator went off mid-prayer. Wouldn't that be nice? He's like, Lord, if you're here with us tonight, please give us a sign. He's like, come now with thy Holy Spirit. We're all coming. How can anyone possibly recap these early episodes? It's insanity. Look, it's a foot. Like, I wrote this down. I was like apologizing to myself. I'm like, why am I doing this? This is ridiculous. Look, it's early on in the season. This is ridiculous. Like, what are we doing here, guys. Come on. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? There's nothing to recap here. Just a bunch of chicks showing up in nice dresses. We don't know anything yet. How can we do this? So anyway, here's my plea to you guys. Stick around. It gets better. I like to warm up. This is bullpen session. We're just getting the cannon loose. We're getting all the mechanics down. We're stretching the hamstrings. Once we can understand these people's names and their insecurities, we're going to be hitting them left and right, okay? Queen Victoria calls Kit a princess and takes over. Look, this is our first official person we don't like, right? Queen Victoria. She's got the charisma of a beefeater. If you don't know your English history, Google it for once, okay? Victoria needs to be dethroned fast. I wanted to say she needs to have our, you know what chopped off, but I'm pretty sure I can't say that on YouTube because they will demonetize me. Matt James and Abigail kiss. Boy, he read those lips, tell you that much. You thought she was reading his lips. Next thing you know, he's like, I'm going in for that kiss. He gives her the first impression rose. It was great. When Matt picked up the first impression rose, this is one of my favorite parts of the first night. There isn't much to recap, but there's nothing funnier than when he picks up the first impression rose and then the girls start communicating like they were in the Secret Service. Did you see that? He picks up the rose and they're like, pretend they're not they're not looking. They're like, does he have the rose? Yeah, it's in the sand. He's got the rose. It's in the sand. Where's he going? Is he walking by? He's walking by. Chin up. Suck it in. Tits out. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's walking by. He's past us. He's going to the fireplace. Okay, he's going to the fireplace. We got Matt's on the move to the fireplace. Matt's got the pedal. He's on the move. Follow him to the formal room. Now, get your eye. I need all eyes on Matt. And then they see that someone else gets the first impression rose, and they go, well, that's it for me. But, yeah, he gives it to Abigail. First impression rose. Good for her. She's cute. Yeah, she seems nice. She's got a great personality. She's cute. She's overcoming, being deaf. I think that's really great for Bachelor to cast people that, are different. I don't want to call it a disability. It's, we've all got different issues and she's probably sees the world and literally hears the world in a different way. She's learning to read people's body language in a way that's probably very advantageous to her. I don't know anything about it. Don't mean to mansplain what it's like being deaf to you guys, but I can't wait to hear more of her story. Rose ceremony. Plenty of girls didn't get to see Matt. It looks like a rose ceremony and more like it looks less like a rose ceremony and more like cheerleading tryouts. Everyone to the left of her, you're off the team. You know what I mean? When they're like 1,000 people trying out for the Cowboys cheerleading squad. NFL cheerleaders get paid like $50. I heard this. I knew a Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader. Humble brag. But I heard that they spend more money on hair products than they actually get paid. Get them in the union. Dave Neal for president. Get those cheerleaders paid. Victoria got a rose. What sort of monarchy mania is this? Pure producer driven. I actually saw Bennett on his Instagram stories said that he thinks Kit will be a 2-on-1 date. I don't think Victoria's going to make it that far, but if Victoria and Kit are both around, I'm sure that'll be the 2-on-1 date. But I think Victoria is going to be getting dethroned very soon. If you didn't get a chance to chat with Matt and didn't get a rose, you should win a vacation or something. I mean, how humiliating is it? It's a waste of time. You're literally putting your life at risk in a pandemic and you don't even get to meet the guy. I'm not blaming him. He's not in charge of the list. You got to work that out amongst yourselves, but it's really tough. And I know what people are saying, well, if you really love someone, you should want to fight for him. That just ain't how it works all the time. Some people are polite. Maybe you would want to marry a polite person versus someone who's willing to push everyone else over like Queen Victoria to get the first conversation in. Ballerina Alicia was poised in defeat. She was pirouetting out of his league. No, she wasn't out of his league, but I wanted to say pirouette out of his league. And I did, and it didn't make sense. So anyway, folks, I'm going to cut this one out now. I got so much content coming out right now. If you haven't yet, checked out my 1-star Yelp review video of Nemacolin Resorts. It's really funny. It was a good one to make. And I've got a video. I got content coming out all week long. Live streams after the episodes, straight after 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, West Coast live streams Monday nights. Thursday, 4 p.m. afternoon. That'll be the preview of the following week. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button. Leave a comment if you're new. Introduce yourself to the class. And look forward to hanging out with you guys this season. If you want to follow me on Instagram, it's at dneals, DNEALZ. And also there's a link in the description if anyone wants to donate on Venmo. I always read off all the different donations we get. I appreciate you guys so much. So to all of our international people that are watching over there in South Africa, my friends in Ireland, all of our Canadian friends, and then right here in the US of A, I appreciate all of you guys so much. Good to see you guys, and let's have a great 2021. Bye, everybody.